dramatic orchestral music. Say trembles within the CEO's private suite. He's captivated by her radiance, demanding to know how such a beauty remained hidden in his empire. The weight of being the chairman's secret finally crushes her. As tears fall, she wonders how her life became this twisted nightmare. Rewind 11 years. Say was just an innocent child, living a simple life far from the reach of the elite. They were happy until one fateful day, when her father made a cold-blooded decision that shattered their family forever. Paralyzed by debt, he traded his own daughter to the powerful chairman whose influence loomed over their land. The chairman claimed Say, barely a teenager, and forced her into his gilded cage of secrets and shadows. She survived by becoming a ghost, hiding in the corners of his lavish galas and avoiding his predatory gaze. She clung to the fading hope that her parents would regret their betrayal and come to rescue her. But deep down, she knew help was never coming. Now, 11 years later, her quiet life is violently disrupted. A late-night encounter with the chairman's elite security leads to a terrifying, face-to-face summons with the boss. They drag her before the CEO, who fails to recognize the woman he's kept captive for a decade. Lethal tension fills the air as whispers exchange. Then, they vanish, leaving Say alone with her heart pounding in terror. Relief is short-lived. 3 days later, fate catches up as Say is summoned back to the chairman's inner sanctum. He claims he's finally ready for her. Now that she's fully grown, he intends to collect on his old investment. Say refuses to be a pawn and pushes him away. Enraged by her defiance, the CEO strikes her across the face. He threatens to destroy her if she ever resists again. In that horrifying moment, Say realizes she must find a way out. She faces a grim choice: submit to this monster or fight for a chance to finally breathe real air. A spark of survival ignites. More than anything, she craves the world outside this high society prison she's known since childhood. She hasn't tasted freedom since she was 7. Suddenly, the mansion erupts into chaos as an alarm blares. The ninth director, Care, is launching a hostile takeover. The panicked chairman abandons Say to save his own skin. Left alone, Say remembers the mysterious 𝓬, a man always buried in books and dark strategic schemes. Seeing the carnage as her only chance, she sheds her silk chains and bolts for the exit amidst the smoke. Will Director 𝓬 be a savior or a new predator? She doesn't care. She just needs to see the sky. She sprints toward a hidden gate in the estate garden, a secret spot she found during her loneliest nights. The perimeter is deserted as the coup rages on. This is her first and last chance at true freedom. She prays for an escape, but as she reaches the threshold, cold steel and armed guards block her path. They demand her identity. Suspecting she's the chairman's spy, she's only one step away from her new life. Even as they threaten her, Say refuses to stop. She'd rather die on the grass than live in that room. She wants to feel the wind and see the stars. With a final burst of courage, she steps into the light. "I did it," she whispers through tears. But a deep voice asks, "Did you really think it was over?" It's Director 𝓬. To survive, Say makes a bold proposal. "Make me your fake lover and I'll help you." 𝓬's eyes gleam with dangerous obsession as he lifts her up, accepting her contract with a dark, predatory smile. 3 days later, Say wakes to the morning sun. She tries to move, but a sharp pain shoots through her. "Where am I?" she mutters, staring at her bandaged hands and the unfamiliar luxury of 𝓬's private penthouse. The room reeks of extreme wealth. Her legs are heavily wrapped and her body feels like it's been shattered. Memories of the coup return in a fractured blur. The blood, the fire, and her desperate deal with the director. She still feels the chairman's suffocating presence, a nightmare that refuses to fade even in this new sanctuary. Yet, she remembers the beauty of the night sky during her escape, the first beautiful thing she'd seen in years. She thought it was a fine backdrop for death. But then 𝓬 intervened, rewriting her fate with his own. He had scolded her for her bravery, his voice dripping with a possessiveness that chilled her to the bone. The stench of the chairman's world still haunted her skin. She fainted just as Care ordered a private medic. Now, Say wanders the eerily quiet halls of the director's fortress, searching for a way to understand her new reality. The bustling corporate world feels miles away. This place is a silent, beautiful fairy tale with a dark undertone. In the silence, she wonders if she's truly free, or if 𝓬's protection is just a more obsessive cage. Say retreats from the whispers, seeking refuge in her desolate, cold room. She craves the shadows, letting the silence consume her aching, weary heart. "Please, let me never wake," she prays, curled into a fragile ball. Panic erupts outside. The Sultan has returned, and the guards are trembling. They left their post for snacks, never expecting the girl to wake. Kaner, the cold new sultan, demands his guards find her immediately. The air shifts. A dark game of cat and mouse has begun. He corners the harem head, demanding to see Say's old, forgotten room. The man stammers in fear until Kaner threatens to sever his limbs. Terrified, the official grovels, desperately searching his mind for her name. He remembers, the girl who stole snacks under the veil of midnight. The northern corner, he gasps. Kaner moves with lethal, focused intent. Execute anyone who left her unattended. The Sultan commands his men. Pleading for mercy falls on deaf ears as the guards march forward. Kaner enters the room alone, finding nothing but a rotting, dark cage. His blood boils. Has his prize really lived in such pathetic filth? It is a tragedy that such beauty was hidden from the sun. A flash of hair catches his eye. He lifts her like silk. She is mine, he signals, carrying her back to the royal chambers. Say awakens in luxury, her vision blurred by the gold and silk. Fear strikes as she realizes the Sultan himself is watching her. I am the Sultan now, he whispers, kneeling like a loyal servant. He tends to her wounds, his eyes burning with an unsettling intensity. Why be so kind to a nobody like me? She dares ask. He strokes her face, his touch sending a jolt through her soul. What do you think my intentions are? He asks, testing her. She recalls the rumors of the ninth prince, the man who stole the throne. Once, she admired him from the shadows, her heart racing in secret. He proposes a dangerous deal, her body for the answers she seeks. She agrees, knowing her life belongs to this tyrant king now. A faint smile touches her lips, catching the Sultan's curious gaze. I am merely your doll, she says, dreaming of a final escape. Kaner watches her, fascinated by the fire hidden behind her tired eyes. Rest, he commands, pulling her into a possessive, heavy embrace. He lies beside her, his heartbeat echoing a rhythm of dark obsession. Later, he offers to feed her. Are you afraid I'll devour you? She shakes her head, her silence only fueling his growing fixation. She tastes the honeyed apple, trembling under his unnervingly gentle gaze. To break her walls, he asks about the worlds within her books. Say begins to speak, her spirit igniting as she tells a tale. She describes a merchant's epic voyage across the vast, treacherous seas. Before his eyes, the broken girl transforms into a radiant storyteller. He seizes her hand, his gaze darkening with a primal, sudden hunger. Call me Kaner, he growls, pulling her into his dangerous space. He licks the honey from her fingers, marking her as his forever. He pins her with a smoldering gaze. His touch is deceptively soft, a phantom trace along her lower lip. He whispers of honey, stealing her breath. Suddenly, he claims her mouth in a searing kiss. Reality blurs. She feels possessed. Yet, his arms offer a strange sanctuary, a warmth she craves. Enough to bury 10 years of isolation. In this palace, she was nothing, until Kaner pulls away, ending the contact. She murmurs a plea, asking for freedom at dawn like the rest. His mood shifts. Instantly, he turns to stone. Will he grant her mercy or chain her forever? He speaks coldly, granting her wish. She should be overjoyed to escape, yet an inexplicable dread takes root within her soul. Then the trap snaps shut. He vows to slaughter any man who dares view her, paving her path with blood. A lethal obsession. He pulls her back into a suffocatingly tight embrace, offering food with a chillingly serene smile. Later, Essie's new maid pledges to stand guard outside her door. Essie begs for light, her stomach heavy from the feast and the Sultan's dark intensity, which left her reeling. Being called lady feels wrong, like a weight doubling her internal discomfort of her meal. She surveys her gilded cage, dripping in opulence. This room was prepared with obsessive care by a hidden hand. Sickened by the luxury, Essie retreats to a shadowed corner of the chamber, haunted by her past. Survival meant gorging on rare meals, a desperate habit born from years of neglect and starvation. Stupid, she chides herself. But Kaner's voice cuts through the dark, demanding answers. She gasps, stuttering out his title in shock. He demands she use his name, then asks why she shuns the bed. For the floor. To SE, the corner is a fortress against the void. Only there does she feel safe from the loneliness. Her own body heat becomes a phantom companion, shielding her from the crushing silence of her soul. Kaner senses her trauma. He offers a terrifying patience, suggesting they bridge the distance slowly, one step at a time. Then, with a playful edge, he asks if she truly intends to abandon him for the night. Recognizing her duty, Essie approaches the bed, disrobes, and waits. He is the Sultan, and she is his prize. As the sole survivor of the harem, her consent is a luxury she lacks. In this game of power, Kaner's eyes darken, his knuckles white with a sudden, violent surge of frustration at her hollow obedience. Did the previous ruler break her like this? She shuts her eyes tight, bracing for a violation she views as a sentence. He meant to wait for her heart, but seeing her so brokenly submissive snaps his restraint. Discarding his robe, he claims his place beside her, vowing to hold back. Dawn breaks on an empty bed. An elderly woman, 𝓍𝓏, stands over her like a watchful shadow. Kaner ordered her to rest. As 𝓍𝓏 offers a bath, 𝓍 recoils, questioning the stranger's presence. In her private sanctuary, 𝓍𝓏 is her new shadow. 𝓍 denies her worth, yet the old woman is firm, reminding her she is the Sultan's chosen. Left alone, 𝓍 ruminates on the fleeting nature of royal favor. Convinced new beauties will soon replace her, she expects to be discarded like common palace trash. Suddenly, Kaner appears, watching her with predatory intensity. 𝓍 attempts to rise, but a sharp cry of pain escapes her lips. Kaner is at her side instantly, his fingers tracing her skin with a terrifying tenderness as he frets over her condition. The guards stand frozen in shock. 𝓍 suddenly drops to her knees, pleading for death. A shocking request. She claims she is merely a discarded relic of the past, unworthy of his care. Kaner counters with a biting truth about her past with the former sultan, sparking fury among the onlookers. Kaner was never supposed to rule. He was the prince without ambition, destined to remain in the shadows while his brother took the crown. His mother, a desert princess of the 𝓤𝓵𝓮𝓹 tribe, died giving him life. Yet, her bloodline held the keys to true power, securing him the elder's secret backing. Branded a curse for his mother's death, he was raised by nomads, far from the court. At 15, he returned to the palace like a desert storm, stunning the nobility. With his lethal prowess and undeniable resemblance to the king, yet he remained indifferent to the crown, ignoring the poison in his cup and the blades at his throat. He was a sleeping lion, until the moment he finally bared his claws and seized the throne. Then his half-sister appeared. The Ice Princess 𝓍𝓏 was raised within these cold palace walls. Her first meeting with Kaner was when he returned home, but 𝓍𝓏's fiancé was a loyalist to the first prince. At 20, Kaner received an invitation to 𝓍𝓏's grand birthday. She used their sibling bond to lure him alone, swearing she was his secret ally. But it was a trap. She stabbed him and unleashed assassins. Yet Kaner fought them off and vanished. 3 days later, the world changed. 5 years passed, and Kaner returned to seize the throne completely. In just 3 days, he eliminated 27 brothers and locked up 19 sisters. When asked why he acted so ruthlessly, he coldly replied that no one would dare challenge his absolute authority ever again. Just like that, Kaner was the sole royal survivor. His only companion, a mysterious harem girl named 𝓍. Kaner declares 𝓍 will be his queen. She protests, trembling that a low-born girl like her doesn't deserve it. Her nomad parents sold her out of fear. Kaner gently cups her face, his gaze intense and searching. He asks if she wants him to let her go. She whispers that palace life isn't for her. Then Kaner drops a bombshell. He became sultan solely for her. She thinks he's joking, but he insists. She must believe him. "You are the sultan's flower," he declares, leaving her utterly bewildered and heart-racing. Smirking, he grants her freedom within the palace, but with 2 rules: never leave and always take 𝓍𝓏. Later, Madame 𝓍𝓏 bathes 𝓍 in jewels and perfume. The transformation is nothing short of a royal miracle. Overwhelmed, 𝓍 tells Madame 𝓍𝓏 that this sudden luxury feels far too excessive for a girl like her. 𝓍𝓏 chuckles, styling her hair while reassuring her. She promises 𝓍 will soon adjust to this royal glamour. After all, the Sultan demanded only the best for her. Once finished, 𝓍 is stunned by her reflection. She barely recognizes herself. On the night Kaner brought her here, he made a shocking confession to 𝓍𝓏. He claimed 𝓍 was the woman he'd been hunting. He knew 𝓍𝓏 would understand once she saw 𝓍's expressive eyes. Now, 𝓍𝓏 is charmed too, promising the Sultan will shower her with endless gold. Later, they explore the palace grounds. Bathed in sunlight, 𝓍 can't believe she's finally walking around freely. It feels so surreal she could cry. They pass a stunning white villa, the vacant palace of the Sultan. 𝓍𝓏 explains its history, but 𝓍 politely declines to enter, fearing she might tarnish its divine beauty. They continue their tour, 𝓍 playing with birds and dipping her toes in a cool, crystal-clear pond. She revels in the breeze, but their fun is cut short when 2 guards block their path ahead. As 𝓍 starts apologizing, 𝓍𝓏 steps in, berating the guards for their blatant lack of respect for them. She explains they are near the council chambers, where the Sultan meets his most powerful nobles and ministers. Say knows this place, it's off limits to everyone except the Sultan and his highest-ranking male officials. Say suggests they head back, but Enon offers lunch. Say declines, though Enon warns her of his temper. The Sultan won't be happy if his flower skips a meal. Say shrugs, joking he won't know. Enon admires her kindness, wondering how this innocent soul will survive a palace full of deadly schemers. She realizes why the Sultan put her in charge. Suddenly, Kaner appears, scooping Say into his arms. He teases her for coming to see him. Sheepishly, she admits she just ended up there by accident. He kisses her neck, whispering she should have come straight to him. She worries about being seen, but the maids have tactfully looked away. Still, Say bites her lip in embarrassment as he sets her down. He warns that he'll embrace her whenever he wants. Keep biting those lips, and I'll finish the job. He pulls her toward the hall, but she freezes. Women are banned. Smirking, he swings her over his shoulder. He declares the rules don't apply to his woman. He plops her on his desk, checking her injuries. She insists she's fine, but he tenderly kisses her hand. She's shocked. She always saw him as stoic, but he smiles more than she realized. Kaner admits he can usually read her like an open book. Yet her current expression puzzles him. Embarrassed, she claims it's nothing, but he presses for the truth. She confesses she was just noticing how often he smiles. He leans in, admitting he only smiles for her. This makes her question his kindness. He counters with a question. Did you never consider that you were the reason I became the Sultan? His gaze burns with a dangerous, soul-deep obsession for her. Her kindness was his first light. His cryptic words left her breathless as he inhaled her intoxicating scent. Perfume? No. He craved only her raw, natural essence as his fingers began to unlace her gown. He saw through her lies instantly. Be honest with me, he commanded, his gaze burning before their bodies merged. You will bear my successor. You are my Sultan's flower, and I became king just to pluck you. Try to flee and I'll burn the world. I'd rather see you wilt than let another hand touch you. 1 month later, lounging against his chest, her strength returned. He fed her with a possessive tenderness. You've learned to handle me well, he teased. Her face flushed crimson as his low chuckle filled the room. I leave for 1 week. My father, the former Sultan, has been found. The hunt is finally over. Blood must be spilled for our future. His death is the final price for you to truly be mine. Her heart plummeted. How could such a gentle man harbor such cold, murderous intent? He sensed her hesitation. Are you afraid I'll be left alone? She whispered, her eyes searching his soul. A single tear fell. He admitted to the same haunting fear of a life without her presence. Do you pity me? She asked. He only feared her departure, questioning if she still dreamt of escaping. Everything is perfect as long as you stay. Forever. He locked his fingers with hers, sealing a vow. Wait for my return. I have a confession to make that will change everything between us. His devotion felt like a golden cage. Why did he treasure her so much? This peace was a fragile illusion. Soon, other women would crowd his heart. But for now, she drowned in the warmth of his embrace. Hold me tight when you return, she pleaded. He smirked, finding his own dark meaning in her words. He traced her skin with playful hunger. 1 week without me, he whispered. Will you survive the longing? Their bodies became one. To him, she was as beautiful and fleeting as a stray beam of moonlight. Morning arrived with a cold bed. Enon stood by her side. The Sultan had already vanished into the dawn. Enon's face was a mask of worry. Suddenly, shouts echoed from the courtyard. Something was terribly wrong. Stay inside, Enon urged. But then, the doors burst open. A swarm of noble women flooded her sanctuary. They stared at her like a rare specimen. Is this the Sultan's secret flower? They whispered, eyes sharp with envy. A commoner? They laughed with pure disdain. Say realized then her peaceful days had come to an end. Enon barked orders to clear the room. The Sultan will have your heads, she warned, but the ladies only scoffed. Then the atmosphere shifted. Soon stepped forward, radiating elegance. The chaotic chatter died down instantly. She was a minister's daughter, leading 20 noble women who had come to claim their place. It is tradition, Sohn stated coldly. The daughters of the elite are the Sultan's rightful gifts. The Sultan abolished that law, Enon countered. Soon's smile was razor-sharp. Until it's official, the old ways remain. Silence fell like a heavy shroud. Sohn reached out, taking Say's hand with a terrifyingly sweet smile. We must dine together soon, she suggested. Say could only nod, her heart hammering against her ribs. Later, the harp strings bit into her fingers. She couldn't shake Soon's image. The noblewoman was everything she wasn't. Refined, elegant, perfect. A true queen for a sultan. The thought was a dagger to her heart. Jealousy, dark and bitter, took root. Is this the destiny of every woman trapped within these gilded walls? Mistress Say. Anon's voice broke the spell. She apologized quickly, trying to hide the tears in her eyes. Wait for his return, Anon comforted. Everything will change when the Sultan stands before you again. They sought refuge in the ancient library. Among the dusty scrolls, she remembered their first fated encounter. This was her only sanctuary. Suddenly, Anon mentioned a secret room hidden deep within the stacks. Say froze. How do you know about that place? The Sultan told me. Anon replied softly. That spot was her most private refuge. Anon confessed Kaner wanted it secret, but felt Say deserved the truth. 5 years ago, a wounded prince bled out in these very shadows, and a young girl saved his life. The truth hit her like a thunderbolt. The boy she saved was Kaner himself. Her secret sanctuary behind the old bookshelf was more than just a hiding place. It was where their destiny began. It was a stormy night 5 years ago. A strange noise echoed through the halls. She peeked out and saw him. Drenched in blood, Kaner's life hung by a thread. Saw lunged for cover, but a sharp crack betrayed her position. "Show yourself!" he growled. When Saw appeared, Kaner gasped, confusing her radiant, delicate face for a celestial fairy. She offered to find a healer, but he refused to move. As voices neared, she frantically cleared her secret sanctuary. Books flew as she opened the hidden compartment. "Get in now!" she hissed while his hunters closed the gap. Kaner slid into the darkness just in time. She draped a blanket over the void, burying him from the world. Grabbing a spare cloth, she scrubbed the crimson trail away. One final seal, and the secret tomb was closed. Inside, Kaner was drowning in a sea of betrayal. His own sister had plunged the blade into his back. He'd given her 15 years of unconditional devotion. He thought she needed a protector, but he was the prey. Regret burned hotter than his wound. Should he have ended her life when they first reunited? Suddenly, heavy boots echoed outside the library. The killers found Saw standing guard over his very grave. "I am a concubine of the Sultan," she bluffed. The men narrowed their eyes, questioning her late-night scholarly habits. She stood her ground, claiming the harem's proximity made this her sanctuary. The lie tasted like ash, but it held. The pursuers hesitated, convinced there was no other escape route. "He's not here," they muttered, falling for her bold act. Hidden in the shadows, Kaner's hand white-knuckled his blade. If they found him, he'd turn this library into a slaughterhouse. "Did you see a fugitive?" they demanded. Saw didn't blink, claiming she was too lost in her stories. Kaner's heart hammered against his ribs. Why was this defenseless stranger risking everything while his blood betrayed him? The hunters scoured the room one last time. Seeing nothing, they ordered her to scream if the rat appeared. They vanished into the garden shadows. Saw let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. She whispered a promise to return with bandages. Intrigued, Kaner watched this mysterious girl with newfound intensity. "Where did you learn to heal?" he smirked. "From my books," she replied, her innocence masking a growing flame. He teased her about her midnight prowling. "No one notices a forgotten concubine," she whispered sadly. As she freed him, his eyelids grew heavy. She shook him awake, desperate to keep his soul from drifting. "Keep talking," she pleaded, remembering the lessons from her pages. Fear clouded her eyes as the blood loss took its toll. Darkness became her ally as she slipped away. She needed those clean cloths before his light faded forever. An hour passed in a blur of tears and terror. "Don't cry," he rasped, touched by her genuine grief. She uncorked a bottle of stolen harem spirits. The liquid fire hit his wound and a scream tore from him. "It's for the infection," she cried. Even in agony, he teased her for being so flustered. He downed the remaining alcohol with a grin. "Your books forgot to mention its best use," he joked. His laughter was a fragile shield against the pain. For a moment, the world of betrayal didn't exist. She carefully fed him bread, softened with water. "Eat," she urged, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "What if I'm a monster?" he asked suddenly. He searched for a motive behind her selfless kindness. Saw didn't hesitate. A real monster wouldn't care enough to ask that. He chewed the simple meal, stunned by the flavor of leftovers. Then, a sudden vision of her future self struck him. She would grow into a woman who could move empires. The thought of her in the Sultan's arms sparked a dark possessiveness. "You're an oddball," he whispered. "Weren't you afraid I'd kill you instead of screaming?" "You looked like you were hurting," she whispered. Her fingers grazed his lips, and her face bloomed like a rose. He asked for her name, then her lineage. "I'm just a commoner," she admitted, fearing his judgment. She braced for the usual noble disdain. But Kaner didn't look down. He reached out. He took her hand, pulling her into his orbit. "Your blood doesn't matter to me," he declared firmly. Relief washed over her, but his mind was racing. She was a flower in the Sultan's garden, a prize he couldn't yet claim. She stood to leave, but he wasn't ready to let go. He clutched his chest, faking a sudden spike of pain. It was a pathetic lie, but it worked. He stayed by her side, content to let the throne wait. He planned his retreat to 𝓬 once the dust settled. Gently, he patted her head, his eyes darkening with intent. "Stay hidden," he warned, "until I come back for you." He saw the breathtaking woman she would inevitably become. He knew the Sultan would eventually notice her. But as the future ruler, he'd inherit everything, including her. Surrounded by concubines, he plotted a silent rebellion, imagining the cold fate awaiting his traitorous kin. His sister's betrayal stung like the blade she used. The next morning, 𝓬 woke alone, yearning for his unknown name. Years later, tears fall as 𝓬 realizes the bloodied boy from 5 years ago was actually the powerful 𝓬𝓮. He frequented the library back then, yet she never saw the truth. 𝓬𝓮 reveals 𝓬𝓮 was wounded by her silence. She hadn't forgotten him, but how could she recognize a majestic prince in that broken, blood-soaked boy from the past? He sounded so fragile then. 𝓬 lived in constant fear for his life, unable to whisper a word to anyone. Confessing to 𝓬𝓮, 𝓬 admits she feared their paths would never cross again. Why did 𝓬𝓮 keep his identity hidden? 𝓬𝓮 explains 𝓬𝓮 wanted her to remember naturally, driven by the intense love he felt since that first fateful meeting. It was love at first sight, yet shadowed by his sister's cruel betrayal, a dark truth that leaves 𝓬 utterly speechless. 𝓬𝓮 didn't choose violence. He spilled blood purely out of necessity to seize his rightful throne from those who betrayed him. Overwhelmed by emotion, 𝓬 weeps. 𝓬𝓮 softly reassures her that seeing her tears would break 𝓬𝓮's heart into pieces. He would have stolen her away instantly if she were a maid, but her concubine status creates a dangerous political cage. Aching for his presence, 𝓬 is told to wait and prepare her confession. How will she reveal she remembers him now? Anxiety consumes 𝓬, fearing he's in danger again. 𝓬𝓮 swears 𝓬𝓮 won't be caught off guard by his enemies a second time. A spy listens nearby. Next day, 𝓬 joins Sun for a meal, sensing a strange, heavy atmosphere. Sun hopes for more visits, urging 𝓬 to leave her solitude. 𝓬𝓮 growls at this, questioning her true motives. 𝓬 isn't officially in the harem yet. Suddenly, a woman snaps that 𝓤 was once the prince's promised fiancé. Tempers flare until 𝓤 slams the table, silencing everyone. She declares her past engagement to 𝓬𝓮 is ancient history. She invites 𝓬 to eat, dismissing the gossip as a mere family arrangement that no longer holds any weight. During lunch, the others mock 𝓬's lowly commoner roots. Sun intervenes, serving her food and demanding they show respect. She orders them to treat 𝓬 with dignity. The talk then shifts to trivial matters like expensive silks and jewelry. 𝓬 feels ignored but doesn't mind the quiet. Just as she lifts her fork, a chilling announcement freezes her in place. 𝓬 drops a bombshell. 𝓬𝓮 is injured. 𝓬's fork clatters to the floor as 𝓬𝓮 rushes in, sensing the panic. 𝓬 hides her shock, claiming her fork just slipped. Deep down, she realizes 𝓬𝓮 kept the injury secret to protect her. After 𝓬𝓮 departs, 𝓬𝓮 whispers more details. Rumors suggest an ambush, and the prince might be in grave danger. 𝓬𝓮 was attacked but survived. 𝓬𝓮 plans a midnight escape to check on him and demands that 𝓬 joins her. When asked how they'll escape, 𝓬𝓮 only offers a wicked grin, calling it their little secret as night falls. Back in her room, 𝓬 confronts 𝓬𝓮 about the injury. Startled, 𝓬𝓮 reassures her that his life isn't in danger. She explains 𝓬𝓮 is merely delayed by urgent state business. As she tenderly wipes away 𝓬's tears, a heavy silence falls. She reminds 𝓬 that 𝓬𝓮 is a legendary warrior who won't fall easily. But before she can ask who told her, an aide interrupts, reporting a heated clash between the concubines. 𝓬𝓮 is forced to leave, leaving 𝓬 alone. Alone, 𝓬 ponders 𝓬𝓮's offer. The plan involves a disguised maid bringing a veil to help her slip past guards. 𝓬𝓮 promised a disguise and a veil to mask her identity, ensuring the palace guards would be conveniently distracted. That night, 𝓬 sneaks out to the secret meeting spot. 𝓬𝓮 commands her to act like a maid if stopped. She reveals the horses prepared for their journey. Noticing 𝓬's fear, 𝓬𝓮 realizes the girl has never ridden before. After a quick lesson, they gallop into the night. Despite her inexperience, 𝓬 is fueled by a burning determination. While riding, 𝓬 reflects on her deep bond with 𝓬𝓮. She saved him once, and he rescued her from despair. He rescued her from abandonment. They reach a crumbling, ruined building that looks nothing like a royal palace hideout. 𝓬 can't believe he's hiding here. Before she can speak, 𝓬𝓮 shoves her inside, urgency masking a darker intent. Sei turns back, catching a glimpse of Sejun's twisted expression. Suddenly, the woman erupts in rage, accusing Sei of ruin. "You stole my future," she screams. Sejun declares that Sei should have died, obsessively claiming that 𝓬𝓮 belongs to her. In a violent fury, Sejun kicks her down, treating her like filth. Years ago, she was his chosen bride. When 𝓬𝓮 returned wounded 5 years ago, he had changed. He broke their engagement coldly, leaving her with no explanation. Now she knows Sei was the reason. She views her as a pathetic pest. Does 𝓬𝓮 truly think he can rule? Can he really be sultan without her family's power? In her twisted mind, she is the only one worthy of him. Jealousy ignites as Soon claws at Sei, accusing her of stealing everything. Brandishing insults, she shoves Sei into the dirt like common trash. Suddenly, the fallen sultan emerges, his eyes cold and full of malice. He glares at Sei, the one woman 𝓬𝓮 is dangerously obsessed with. He offers Soon a throne, but her heart holds only dark treachery. Soon plots a double murder, aiming to reclaim 𝓬𝓮's heart through blood. The tyrant mocks 𝓬𝓮's devotion, treating Sei like a mere pawn. His hand tightens around her throat, a lethal threat to the king. Bravely, Sei defies him, comparing the pathetic tyrant to her powerful 𝓬𝓮. Enraged, he chokes her, his ego bruised by her unwavering, fierce loyalty. "He's a beast who slaughtered his own kin," the old man screams. A black arrow strikes. Silence falls as the king finally arrives. 𝓬𝓮 stands like a god of war, eyes locked on his prize. "She is my treasure," he declares, his voice dripping with lethal intent. Trembling under his gaze, the tyrant finally releases his delicate prey. This is no reunion, it's a predator, protecting his most sacred obsession. Soon weaves a pathetic web of lies, desperate to save herself. One frostbitten glare from 𝓬𝓮 shatters her deceitful heart instantly. He pushes past the noise, focused only on his trembling woman. Despite the danger, Sei only cares if her king is hurt. 𝓬𝓮 delivers a chilling ultimatum. Soon's family will pay in blood. The coward sultan grabs Sei again, using her as a human shield. "Close your eyes," 𝓬𝓮 whispers, his blade singing a song of death. In a crimson blur, he massacres the guards with terrifying, effortless grace. Steel meets throat, the tyrant's life hangs by a single, bloody thread. Sei collapses, and 𝓬𝓮 catches her, his world narrowing to her face. "Stab your master and live," he commands the remaining, terrified guards. He walks away, carrying his world in his arms like royalty. "You forfeited morality when you betrayed your own blood," he retorts. Behind him, the wolves turn on their master in a final betrayal. Guilt burns in 𝓬𝓮's soul as he watches her fragile, sleeping form. He blames himself. He should have never let his treasure out of sight. Every battle fought was for her. Without her, his world is ash. Sei wakes to find him carrying the weight of 1,000 sins. She cups his face, her touch the only thing calming his storm. He asks why she stayed, why she didn't run when she had the chance. "There's so much I haven't told you," she whispers, heart overflowing. He teases her, though his heart aches with a desperate, dark longing. She laughs softly even outside. Her entire world was always him. They embrace. Two broken souls finally finding peace in the madness. She reveals the truth. She is the girl who saved him long ago. The memory of her light in his darkest hour returns with force. A kiss seals their fate. He's loved her since he was 13. He watched her bloom from afar, a secret obsession turned into destiny. Sei holds him tight, finally accepting the man who would burn worlds. Finally recognizing his unwavering devotion, she seals her love with a passionate kiss. In 𝓬𝓮's arms, she finds her ultimate sanctuary. No world exists without him now. 𝓬𝓮 vows she'll be his eternal queen, a vow that binds their souls forever. She teases him about the sultan's many heirs. 𝓬𝓮 laughs, promising a house overflowing with children and boundless joy. Their blissful days flow until a whispering couple sneaks into the royal library, gossiping about the palace's future. They wonder when the empty harem will fill once more, unaware their secret meeting is being watched from the shadows. A falling book shatters the silence, signaling they aren't alone. 𝓬𝓮, lounging nearby, watches them with a sharp, possessive gaze. Holding Sei close, he asks if the gossip stung. She playfully asks if he'll ever replace her one day. 𝓬𝓮 grins, calling it impossible. Side by side, they dive into a grand adventure novel, lost in their own world. Sei realizes her dreams are no longer solitary quests. 𝓬𝓮 is her one constant in this beautiful, ever-changing world. And so, the epic tale of Sei and 𝓬𝓮 reaches its breathtaking finale. Did this romance capture your heart? Tell us. Comment below, like, share, and subscribe for more legendary recaps. Until next time, stay tuned.